If you watch TV shows that are supposed to be about ghost hunting, you often see the participants wandering around in the dark with an instrument called a Milligauss meter. A Milligauss meter detects magnetic fields, and when one shows a reading on a ghost hunting show, there's usually a lot of excitement on screen. The implication is that somehow spirits generate magnetic fields that the meter can pick up. The only problem is you can pick up readings on a Milligauss meter in just about any kind of a house. People who film their quests to find ghosts generally film in buildings said to be haunted or otherwise inhabited by spirits. But we're about to go wandering around in the dark inside the house behind us. And it's just an ordinary house built in the 1950s in an ordinary suburb. There's nothing haunted about it as far as we know. So we'll fire up a Milligauss meter in there and see what happens. Now, I'm going to go inside the house. Okay, we're in the house, and we're going to switch on our Milligauss meter. Right now, we've got background readings of just a few Milligauss. Now, one of the criticisms of shows using these things for looking for ghosts is the readings are very easily manipulated, and we're about to show you how. We're about to get right next to a Wi-Fi hotspot over here. So if I wanted to actually show a really high reading, all I'd have to do is walk next to it with the Wi-Fi hotspot off camera so you couldn't see it, and my Milligauss meter would go crazy. So we're going to do that. 1.1. We're getting closer. Oh, look, we go. There we go. Went from 1.1 to about 5, 7, 20, 26. Makes a difference when you're near a Wi-Fi hotspot. TV shows that look for ghosts often use Milligauss meters that light up LEDs when the reading exceeds a certain level, probably to add visual interest because basically there isn't much to actually see on these shows. But our Milligauss meter doesn't have lights, just a display readout. However, it's more sensitive than most of the relatively inexpensive Milligauss meters used on TV. It has 3 orthogonal sensors for picking up magnetic fields in 3 directions and is calibrated to a lab standard traceable back to NIST. Well, we walked around this dark house and discovered something about Milligauss meters. If you have a battery that's about to go bad, it can also affect the readings. Not in the way you might expect. In ours, it actually gave us higher than expected readings, not lower ones. So that's another way that Milligauss readings can be manipulated. Now, one thing they don't go into on shows looking for ghosts is that ordinary appliances give off magnetic fields. In fact, microwave ovens can give off 30 up to 100 Milligauss and higher. And you might say one of the criticisms of what we've done so far is that we're in a house with power in it. So you might argue, yeah, you're going to get magnetic fields. What's the big deal? Fair criticism. So what we're going to do now is we're going to kill the power to the entire house, try not to kill ourselves as we wander around in the dark, and see what happens. Okay, off we go. Now, one other thing that they don't tell you in ghost hunting videos is that if you move around, it can also confuse the Milligauss meter. So ideally, what you want to do is stand still when you're taking a reading. One thing we did to make sure we had a fair test here is that our camera crew turned off all its Wi-Fi oriented equipment to make sure that wasn't what we were picking up. We're still about 0.3, 0.4. Yeah, still about 0.3, 0.4, 0.2. Okay, when we switched on our power, our background readings went from about 0.3, 0.4 to about 1.2 to 2.5. So power does make a difference. So we finished our little tour of an ordinary house in the dark, and all in all, not much happened, just as not much happens on TV shows looking for ghosts. We got a few readings on our Milligauss meter, but nothing you wouldn't expect from inside an ordinary house. Finally, we should say something about the Milligauss meter we used. Our meter was probably better quality than what you see used on a lot of ghost search type videos. But ours, and those typically seen on ghost hunting type shows, are sensitive in the ELF range of frequencies. That means they're typically sensing magnetic fields up to about a few hundred hertz in frequency. But if there are such things as ghosts, who's to say they've limited themselves to generating frequencies below a few hundred hertz? There are Milligauss meters that are sensitive to higher frequency magnetic fields, but you aren't likely to see them used on ghost hunting type videos because their prices typically start at about $500 and go up from there, which I suspect is beyond the budget of most groups that label themselves as hunters of spirits. Anyway, that's just another issue to ponder as you watch people fumble around in the dark yelling, "Is anybody there?" when there's nothing much particular happening on camera. And for more tech videos like this one, go to eeworldonline.com.